Hello everybody and welcome to another list video here at BBG. I'm joined by Daniel from Quick Learner. How's it going?
Hi, I'm doing pretty well. We haven't recorded in a little while, so I'm excited to get back into the grind. And sorry, it's not a grind. It's fun. It's fun every day.
Yes, that's what we say
Uh,
so people think we're having fun doing this. Yeah.
that's I mean, this one's been really kind of fun too, because we talked about doing this video, this
Mhm.
list a long time ago, and I don't know what's on this list because you didn't share that with me. And also, I don't even know what I put down for this list because I made the ratings like over a month ago. So
Yeah,
it's gonna be a
yeah.
big surprise for me along with the viewers.
So let me give some context what we're doing here. We're going to talk about strongest customizable cards. We have 6. I was going to do 5, but we had some ties that kind of pushed us up to 6, which is a little bit exciting. We have rated every customizable card on 3 different scoring metrics to determine which customizable cards are the best of the best. We rated each metric out of 10 and averaged our scores together. The first metric was the card's power, how strong the card is at its peak. The second metric was the card's versatility, how many different places is that card valuable, which is, I think, especially interesting when it comes to customizable cards because in theory they should be the most versatile cards ever made, and for the most part the ones on this list are, in my opinion, and also we'll see Daniel's opinion when we get later on. The third metric was the card's impact, which asks how the cost of the cards compared to its impact on the game when played. This takes into account of resource cost, this takes into account experience put in, and I think there's a little bit of complicated stuff here for customizable cards because they can have up to 10 XP. We're kind of looking at these, at least I was, kind of across the gamut, right? Where all the way at level 0, all the way to level, like, to 5 XP, to level, like, to, sorry, 10 XP to level 5.
Hmm.
I think that there is like a lot of different ways to approach it. I think some customizable cards like peak at like 6 XP, like, right? Like, I think that there's a kind of thing when you go above that, it goes a bit beyond, but they're a little bit more complicated. So like the impact, power, and versatility is kind of looking at the card across the table. With that out of the
Yeah.
way, oh, do you want to say something?
I was gonna say, well, I don't know how I rated this because again, it was a long time ago, but I'll just say that it's interesting in the design that a few of the customizable cards do nothing or
Yep.
very little at level 0. And yeah, probably maybe we'll talk about that at some point. But if not, because maybe those cards just didn't make the list. It's interesting that the impact here really does matter, I think, card by card, and the design is, I don't know, it's cool. It's interesting. We'll talk
Yep.
about it.
All right, everybody, get ready for a lot of reading because I'm going to read through all these cards as well as we get through them. So, first on our list at number 6 with an average of 8 out of 10 is Pocket Multi-Tool. Takes up a hand slot in the Survivor class, 3 cost, customizable, limit 1 per investigator, is a lightning bolt. During a skill test you're performing, exhaust Pocket Multi-Tool, you get +1 skill value for this test. The detachable mode costs 1 XP. Other investigators or location may use the ability on Pocket Multi-Tool. Pry bar costs 1 XP. You get an additional +1 skill value if this is during a skill test on a treachery. Sharpened knife costs 2 XP. You get an additional +1 skill value if this is during an attack. Signal mirror, 2 XP. You get an additional +1 skill value if this is during an evasion attempt. Wow. Magnifying glass also costs, sorry, magnifying lens costs 2 XP. You get an additional +1 skill value if this is during an investigation. But yeah, it is basically magnifying glass, isn't it? And then we have Lucky Charm, 3 XP after you fail a skill test, ready Pocket Multi-Tool. And then Spring Loaded for 4 XP, the kind of ultimate on the card. It's kind of fun to look at all the customizable cards and see the ultimate. Pocket Multi-Tool's ability is now a reaction ability with the trigger. When you would fail a skill test you're performing, exhaust Pocket Multi-Tool. For power, Daniel gave this an 8, I gave it a 7. For versatility, Daniel gave it a 7, I gave it an 8. And for impact, Daniel gave it an 8, and I gave it an 8. So very similar scores across the board for this one.
I didn't know you liked this card as much as I did. Cool.
Yeah,
I think it's a
so
good card.
it's a big piece of the Never Fail Ashcan Pete deck that I love to play, where it's one of the many survivor tools to not play. Sorry, to play that allow you to not fail.
Yeah, in my mind, if you are playing this card, it has the 4 check
Yes,
boxes
I
for
agree.
spring loaded.
You want spring
It
loaded on
just
here.
like you can put the other stuff into it first if you need to. Like the pry bar, I think is really cool. But ultimately, I don't think the value is there unless you have the lucky ability.
Yeah, I think that Lucky is like we've been talking about Lucky for a bit. It came up in our ally video talking about Granny Orn. The ability to just have like a Lucky on command. When we say Lucky, we're talking about the card Lucky, which allows you to alter a failing skill test into a passing skill test. And this automatically gives you +1 skill value during the test you're performing. So even if you just put 4 XP as your first upgrade into this card, it's giving you that Lucky from just here, because you get the half a Lucky at the starting point. But then as soon as you put in, like, for example, Pry Bar, or if you're evading, you put in the Signal Mirror, now you're getting a Lucky on, like, Treacheries, and also when you're doing evasion tests, because you get the additional +1. And that is impactful, to just have in a hand slot, something you can just put into play and just have it take a lot of, like a lot of value is really nice.
Have you ever played Lucky Charm?
I was going to ask you the exact same question. And the answer to me is no, because I'm playing this to do spring loaded.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't even know why you would... Like, it's 3 XP. Maybe you run out of boxes to check or something, and you can't get the spring loaded, but don't do that. I just feel like you're never going to... Like, that ability is just so much worse, unless you are playing Stella, I guess is kind of the idea, that you want to fail. But I don't know. This is the same sort of problem. You've talked about it before. Like, why are you exhausting this if you think you're going to fail the test, right?
Yeah, so, like, there's the philosophy of, like, protection, where it's like, I'm going to use this card and pass a test with it, even if I fail the first test, which in theory is fine, but I think it's more practical on stuff like the Derringer and the Chainsaw, where, like, you want to be using this to advance the game, as opposed to just, like, making a test generally better, right? And I think that that's where, like, the difference is for those kind of effects.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep. Maybe that's why I only gave it a 7. I was like, I don't think those 3 boxes are ever checked for me. And Detachable, I don't think I've used that often, but I think it's kind of cool if you have. You know, turns it into Granny Orn in level 3, like you said. Other investigators can use it. But yeah, no, I think the rest of it's a good card. I know the hand slot people say, but I need the hand slot for stuff. I'm like, well, maybe, but maybe you don't.
I mean, I think that, like, in most classes, if they could play a Lucky in their hand slot, they would. Like, I think that that's what it comes down to, right? Like, this is very easy to, like, say, for example, you're the clue getter. You buy spring loaded, you buy Pry Bar, you buy magnifying lens, and you're set, right? Like, you maybe then buy detachable to round it out to help out the squad. But, like, those are the only tests that you're going to be taking. And, like, that is worth a hand slot. Like, that is not comparable to, for example, magnifying glass, because that's so cheap and free, right? But, like, it's one of those things where a Seeker would kill to have that ability as well, because then they, like, when you have these effects in your deck, it changes how you're building your deck and how you're playing your turns as well, which is a big survivor privilege that not many other classes actually get to take advantage of.
Yeah, it's too bad they didn't print something like this that doesn't take up a slot at all in Seeker, huh?
Yeah. Became a little bit problematic. How it's a little bit problematic, right? Yeah.
I did play this in Wilson, my first Wilson deck, and tried the whole, tool belt thing. So I used this and then put it on the tool belt to make something else take up the hand slot instead after it was exhausted. That was kind of cool, but, you know, it's more silly than, like, the most optimal thing to do.
Yeah. All right, should we go to card number 5?
Yeah.
All right, card number 5 with a score of 8 out of 10 is Summon Servitor, otherwise known lovingly as the Alien. Get ready, there's a lot of text on this one. This is a 2-cost Misted that takes up the Ally and the Arcane slot. As just a cost to play him, you must discard another asset you control. Summon Servitor enters play at your location. It can only take 1 action during each of your turns, which can only be used to take the following action: move. That's all it gets when it comes in. This is an example of one of those cards that Daniel said that you don't want to put in your deck at a level 0 card. It's just, you don't want to do that. Armored Carapace, it gains a health value of 3. It can be assigned damage dealt to any investigator at its location. That's a 1 XP upgrade. For 1 XP, you can get Claws That Catch. Add this action, Fight. You fight any enemy at this location with a base of 4. Ignore the aloof and retaliate keywords for this attack, because it's the alien that is doing the fighting. For 1 XP, you get Jaws that snatch. Add this action, Evade. You attempt to evade any enemy at this location with a base foot of 4. Ignore the alert keyword for this evasion attempt. Eyes of Flame for 1 XP. Add this action, Investigate. You investigate this location with a base book of 4. Wings of Night for 1 XP. After it moves from your location to a connecting location, you may move to that location as well. Dominance for 2 XP. Summon Servitor no longer takes up N, circle 1 arcane or ally slot, so it puts it down to 1 slot. Dreaming Call for 3 XP. Instead of discarding another asset you control in order to play Summon Servitor, you may return that asset to its owner's hand. And then for the ultimate for 5 XP, we got Daemonic Influence. You know it's a little bit spicy because they got the AE on there. Summon Servitor can take 2 different actions instead of 1 during each of your turns. For our ratings, Daniel gave it a power. I gave it an 8 for power, as did I. For versatility, Daniel gave it a 9. I gave it an 8. And for impact, Daniel gave it an 8 and I gave it a 7. So again, we're very close on this one. Like, these are very, very similar ratings.
Would you like me to read the next one?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, sure.
There's only going to be a couple things to read, though. It's going to be great.
Yeah.
This is, I'm glad you like it, too. This is one of those cards where every time it comes up in community discussion, like 75% of the people are like, this card sucks.
They're sleeping on this card. People are sleeping on this card. It's very good.
It's good, and it's fun, and I think it's very interesting, which also is something that I value in Arkham cards. The versatility here that I gave 9 probably reflects that I've taken all of these before, and that I think is cool. Generally, I want, of course, 1 or 2 of the action things.
Yep.
Some people say just, use it for the free move with Wings of Night. That's fine too, but I really like the Investigate with the base of 4. Even if you have a base of 5, and I saw you do this with Daisy, which really opened my eyes, you can still pass tests with a base of 4. That's a good number for investigating. It really is.
Yeah.
And, it's kind of funny that they had space for Ignore, Aloof, and Retaliate, and Alert, and they didn't do that for Haunted, which it's not a keyword in more than one campaign, but still.
It would have been I actually think that would have been cool to have on there. But it is kind of, it's probably for the better, but I think it would be kind of neat.
Yeah. Anyway, I like this in off-class Mystics. They can run 4 XP here and just get the job done. An extra action, I've always said, is good. I have a video on my channel that just talked about fun things you can do with combos, with the fact that you are doing investigations. You can do this with Michael Lee. He can give you, you can pile up evidence with Michael Lee, even though the servitor is doing the investigate. I mean, you really are, but it's an extra action for the servitor. I don't know. I've had a good time in basically every investigator that I've played this in, so it's a fun card.
I think the only downside of Summon Servitor is that sometimes scenarios just nerf him. I think that's the only awkward thing where, say, for example, a location gets discarded and Summon Servitor is there. You just have to watch him go, and you're like, but he's my buddy. Why did you take away my buddy, right?
Yeah, if they needed to, fix that, they probably could just do it by treat it as an investigator. So anytime there's a map switch where they say things like investigators are not defeated during this process, like Depths of Yoth, they could have said, if they had any more room on this card, that treat it in some way like an investigator. I know that comes with another can of worms with empty locations and whatnot, but it does feel kind of bad when you just lose it halfway through the scenario through no fault of your own.
My favorite use of this guy, I love him in off-class Mystics. It's like Daisy, it's really good. You only really need 4 XP for this guy to actually start getting work. You get Eyes of Flame and then Wings of Night, and now you're basically up in action each turn. A nice one to have is Dominance as well, because if you can just take away the slot that you don't need. One thing that actually is my most used function now is actually Dreaming Call. Being able to bounce assets is a pretty good combo that you have with this guy. I especially like it with Magnifying Glass into Summon Servitor into Magnifying Glass, right? So it's
that's fun.
It's you don't have to actually really pay any cards to do it. You're just spending the resources for it. But it's because you're investigating, it gets all your passive boosts, right? So if you have a Dr. Milan Christopher in play, for example, or just even like an Alyssa Graham if we want to stay in class, or even an Ikiak, right? It all
Right.
is one of those things where now you're doing a base 5. And a base 5 investigate every turn is really good. And yeah, you need to put some XP in this guy, but like even what you were saying, the just Wings of Night, that's just a Pathfinder every turn, right? Like that's just a Pathfinder. Yeah, you need to find an ally to, or like a card to get rid of, and it takes up some slots. But the power for customizable cards is you can adapt from it. My personal favorite use of this guy is in skill slinging decks because an extra test to throw a skill is very powerful to get a lot of value out of it. His ultimate is also very good, being able to move and investigate every turn, or move and like I've even done like the evasion, just like being able to evade lock enemies down is very powerful as well. Very good card, and a great customizable.
Yeah, I just feel like I hear people complain about the downsides where it's like a connected reveal location or you have to get rid of an asset. And stop complaining. I mean, it
Yeah.
does a lot of work.
Well,
Look, again, you opened my eyes to it just playing it. I think it was in Innsmouth where there was the 4 shroud location that gives you VP if you clear it off. You just leave this guy in a corner, and every turn you just try to get rid of the clues. You
yep.
never need to go back there again. It actually saves you a lot of grief. So, play it. It's good.
And even like the discard an asset, ask yourself, is that a cost or is that a privilege, right? Like, hey, maybe I can play that new Will of the Cosmos card and now like not have to wait for the game to tell me it's okay to play it, right? It's maybe I can
That's right.
do like that kind of stuff with it. It's yeah. So
Get rid of
that's
some Doom.
yeah.
Maybe if you have Dreaming Call, you bounce something back like a gate box. Maybe if you're
Yep.
Luke, right?
Yep.
Refresh
Or even,
that.
yeah, even just like something that uses charges, right? Bounce back one of your like cosmic flames, right? And then you can just like play it again and refill it. There's a lot of versatility with things that sound like restrictions. Ask yourselves, can I turn them into a positive? And if the answer is yes, this card just gets better.
Yep.
All right, on to card number 4. Our last 8 out of 10 is Empirical Hypothesis. I'll throw this one to you.
I don't know why I gave it. Oh, sorry. I'm reading the card. Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
2 cost, Empirical Hypothesis. It's an asset. It has a single intellect icon. But that's not why you play these cards. It is talent. It is science. It is mutated if you play the taboo list. It is customizable because that's why it's on this list. It's also limit 1 per investigator, meaning that if you have one in play, you cannot play another one. But other people can play them if they want to. And you can have 2 in your deck because that's how these customizable cards work. Forced, when the round begins, choose one of the following criteria for this round. You fail a test by 2 or more, or you succeed a test by 3 or more. When the chosen criteria is met, you may exhaust Empirical Hypothesis to place 1 evidence on it. And as a free triggered ability, spend an evidence to draw 1 card, max twice per round. Although I suspect it really should be limit twice per round, because otherwise other people who have this. Anyway, moving on. The actual upgrade sheet here, which is interesting because many people look at the level 0 version and say, good enough. 1 XP, 1 checkbox here, pessimistic outlook, add the following criteria. You run out of cards in your hand. Another one, trial and error, add the following criteria. You are dealt damage or horror. Independent variable, add the following criteria. You discard a treachery or enemy from play. Field research, add the following criteria. You enter a location with 3 or more shroud. Peer review, this one costs you 2 checkboxes. The chosen criteria is met if any investigator at your location meets it instead of only you, and other investigators at your location may trigger the free triggered abilities on Empirical Hypothesis, which now includes potentially the next 2 things. Research grant, Empirical Hypothesis gains free triggered ability to spend 2 evidence, reduce the cost of the next card you play this phase by 3. 3 checkbox for irrefutable proof. Empirical Hypothesis gains free triggered ability, spend 3 evidence, discover 1 clue at your location. And then finally, the ultimate, as Justin says, is Alternative Hypothesis. After you exhaust Empirical Hypothesis, you may resolve its forced effect, choosing a criteria you've not yet chosen this round, then, ready it. And I've never taken that one, but the rest of the card's pretty cool.
For ratings, we both gave it an 8 for power. You gave it a 10 for versatility, and I gave it a 6. So our biggest difference so far. Impact is a 7 for you and a 9 for me. So this is the one that we actually have like kind of the most conflicting opinions, but we both generally agree it's a strong card. Like the power is the same. When we get into the nitty gritty, it gets a little bit different compared to the other previous cards. I'll start.
I don't know
I'll
what I was
see.
thinking then, but yeah,
I
go
mean,
ahead.
I understand. I get it because I think that baseline empirical hypothesis is just a lucky cigarette case in Seeker, right? Like, you succeed by 3, you get a draw card. That is very close to lucky cigarette case, which is if you succeed by 2, you get a draw card. They each cost 2. This one doesn't case the slot. Yeah, like it's like that. Like the versatility is there. So like I don't think 10 is crazy because if we look at this as versatility when it comes into the amount of investigators that can play this card, the answer is literally all of them. Like every investigator can want to play this card. I have the privilege of doing this morning, so I actually know why I gave it a 6 for versatility. And I think it's because I think of all the customizable cards, at least the ones we've seen so far and the ones we're going to see after, I think that this is the one that most commonly is not upgraded to its full potential because you kind of don't need to, right? So like for me, the versatility got the lower rating, not because like I think it is a very versatile card. Everybody can play it. Like I don't think the 10 is a crazy rating. I just think in terms of when I was looking at these as customizable cards, I've seen people buy 2 upgrades for most of the time where I see this. They buy field research and then research grant or peer review. Those are like the 2 that people buy. Like even the irrefutable proof, not really worth it at the rate that it comes out, right? So to me, that's where like I think that this kind of fell. However, with that said, I'm going to throw this to you, but I want to talk about some alternate builds that are really fun with the empirical hypothesis that I think makes the card, like maybe it's more versatile than I'm giving it credit for in this video.
Yeah, so this is funny because I looked at this and I said, man, I have to justify whatever I put down on the sheet months ago. And now, I think that's exactly what I was going for, was that everyone can take it and drawing cards is always good. Like this is an economy card. And I don't think we have anything else like that in the customizables.
No.
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
It's just card draw. So there's no particular build that doesn't want this. But you're right. With some of the upgrades, then it starts to push you in some potential directions. This is probably the card that, moving on from Legacy to just Chapter 2, that I have to like really bite my tongue and say, okay, I won't play this. I know it's kind of a disgustingly easy card to put in a deck, and we all have our vices. And for me, it's this one. For Seeker, like every Seeker deck that I've played just throws this in because why not? There's so much synergy in the Seeker card pool, and then outside the Seeker card pool, it's just really easy to do everything that this says. So that's probably why I gave it the 8 and the 10. I remember two reasons why I love this card too. I played it pretty early in Scarlet Key's era in a Carolyn Fern deck that used the trial and error, and she only gets to put 2 XP into this. That's all she needs. She just needs that 1. And you're just drawing tons of cards because you're taking horror all the time. Really good. And then this is like my first contribution to the TTS mod, was to add the red buttons.
Oh, nice. Some TTS lore here. I like it.
Yeah. So near and dear to my heart.
Trial and Error is actually my personal favorite mode on this card. If you can find different places to deal yourself damage and horror. So, for example, in Minty Fan with Spirit of Humanity, like that's a very fun way to turn your bless tokens into card draw, right? Like that's like a really neat thing to control. I think with those kind of things, when you're able to do that, alternative hypothesis becomes more of a thing that you can choose, because you can like take a horror and then move into a location with 3 Shroud, or investigate a location with these blessed tokens that you're pulling to like get those kind of like those big things. Pessimistic Outlook is very fun in discard decks, which are now more viable, like with like Nautical Charts and, for example, Daryl Simmons, or again, Minty Fan. I think Minty Fan is probably the best user of Empirical Hypothesis as a whole card, as opposed to just like the value engine that Empirical Hypothesis can provide, because it is a really good value engine, but I have such a bone to pick with it, and it's this most petty thing in the world, but I hate that you can't choose a mode when you play it on the turn that it comes out. It's like, I just, for some reason, in my mind, I'm like, that means I get one less turn with this card. And it makes it so much harder for me to actually play it. Because I think the card's great. And you're actually going to, like, just pay attention to any gameplay runs where I bring this card, how often it ends up just living in my hand. And it's just because of that I can't get over that weird little bump where I'm like, why would I play this card? It doesn't work this turn. And then I'm suddenly 5 turns later and I'm like, okay, I guess I'll just commit it. Right? And it's just such a weird, like, my own, like, sort of play pattern that Empirical Hypothesis puts me in.
I was going to say my toxic trait on this card is that I will forget that it's in play, and not about the forced effect, like the putting evidence on it, but the end of the game, you'll see like 2 or 3 evidence just sitting there.
Yeah.
And I'm like, why didn't I use it?
Yeah.
Partly because Seekers just draw cards anyway, and I don't know, like, because you can choose when you actually spend it because it's a free triggered ability, I'm more prone to forget.
Yeah.
And that's just a consequence of the way that I mean, that's actually very powerful for the card, but it's like, I could leave that there. I'm going to hit hand size anyway, but which is probably why it was tabooed. Like the fact that you could store like 10 evidence on here, lose your entire hand to some treachery, and then just draw back up was just nuts. That was crazy.
Yeah, no, this is one of those things that I wish that playtesting had power gamers so they could see these cards in like a environment that power gamers are more likely to do these things that are like, ooh, that shouldn't be how this card works. Like, luckily, I think generally they've gotten better about like providing limiting factors onto these kind of things. But I think Empirical Hypothesis was a card that I think everyone knew was powerful when it came out. I remember being like, this card's crazy. And it's a powerful customizable card. It deserves to be on this list for sure.
I'm sad that George can't take the pessimistic outlook because I just love the idea of him saying, I think next turn I'm going to break the boat.
Yeah. I think this is the I think the boat's breaking this turn. Yeah, just going like that, I think.
We're starting to take on a lot of water. Yep.
Yeah. I actually would have loved to see a stronger version of that pessimistic outlook was just when you discard a card from your hand. Ooh. I feel like that's the biggest downside of Empirical Hypothesis is that its base mode is so good that there's no real reason to go into the other modes when we see that in comparison to like especially the Summon Servitor, right? Like that card is legitimately, there's a lot of different avenues you can take with him. And I think with Empirical Hypothesis, it's kind of like, it's just too much value at level 0 that it's like, why would I up? Like, you could get to the final scenario with this with 0 XP, and I'm like, yeah, like that's good. Yeah.
It's fine.
Yeah.
Although I really love the research grant. I've taken a lot of advantage of that over the years just because 3 cost is a lot of fast emergency cash, essentily.
Yep. Just ask Amina. She has to pay Doom for that. Seekers just get it if they investigate twice. 100% though, like especially with the other people able to do it, right?
Yep.
Like being able to then like I think like peer review research grant is like a really good for this.
Absolutely.
All right, let's go to card number 3, and good news, we're out of the 8s. We're starting to get into different ratings here. With an 8.3, we got Grizzled at number 3 on our list. This is a survivor skill. When you purchase it, you get to choose and record 2 traits on its upgrade sheet. If this skill test is if this is a skill test on or against an encounter card, including fighting, evading, or parlaying, Grizzled gains Wild for each of the chosen traits that encounter card possesses. It has Specialist for 1 XP, where you get to add a 3rd trait. And it has also, for 2 XP, Specialist, where you can add another trait. If you want to be crazy, you can spend 2 for a trait before you spend 1. Just if you want to flex on the game a little bit, there's nothing stopping you from doing that. At 3x, hell yeah! I mean, you don't think less about what you're going to spend 1 XP on.
Well, it's to max out the 10, I think.
Yeah, it feels better to be at 10 as opposed to 9. I get it.
Yeah.
For 3 XP, we got Nemesis. If this is a skill test on or against an enemy with a chosen trait, and the test is successful, you may attach Grizzled to that enemy. Reduce the difficulty tests on or against the attached enemy by 1. Mythos Hardened for 4 XP. If this is a skill test on a treachery with a chosen trait, and the test is successful, level. You may add both Grizzled and that Treachery to the Victor display. And then we have Always Prepared for 5 XP. This one kind of has 3 ultimates, which is kind of a neat mode for a customizable card.
It is interesting.
Always Prepared, after you draw an encounter card with the chosen trait, return 1 copy of Grizzled from your discard pile to your hand, max once per round. Very similar ratings for this one. You gave it a 9 for power, I gave it an 8. You gave it a 10 for versatility, I gave it a 9, and we each gave it a 7 for impact.
It is interesting. There's only one XP option here, and it's not really anything interesting. We got a lot of big ones, and I've used all of them to great effect.
Yep.
But it's really Always Prepared that makes this card crazy, because it's basically always in your hand then.
Yes, it's kind of like it's kind of like an upfront. I mean, I was gonna say it's kind of like an upfront lucky, but that's just a skill card in general, right? But like,
Right.
It is kind of like a card that you can just throw at a test and not worry about that test, because you're gonna get this back at some point when you have Always Prepared. It also doesn't even really necessarily require a lot of campaign knowledge in order to like get there. I think that you need to have general game knowledge where you're like, okay, I'm gonna write monster or humanoid
Elite.
or elite, or like usually like hex in Circle Undone is really good, right? One of my favorites is that in bringing it to Circle Undone, and I believe you choose like woods or something like that. One of the ones that's on the locations, so circle tests become a bit easier.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah.
Like there's like I've done that once before, and I think that this is the real power of customizable cards, is that they are customizable. You can choose what you want to do with them, right? You can determine the best thing for the deck that you are playing and the campaign you're playing against. I think with the previous cards we saw, it's kind of the deck you're playing, but Grizzled, I think, is like our tech card here. This is the card that you build for the campaign you're playing with. For example, Mythos Hardened. I have seen people use this in Patron Game Days to just remove hard cards from the encounter set, especially in 4 players. And Nemesis, I've seen people do this against elite enemies that are going to be like chasing us the entire scenario, and just being like, hey, guess what? The what's the guy's name from
Inescapable?
The Inescapable. It's like it's the Unnameable with a few extra syllables in there. He is now just easier to deal with, right? Like that is like, because it doesn't say non-elite anywhere on this, and these effects normally say non-elite, but it's not here for Grizzled, which is very powerful.
Yeah, I've put maybe it was just elite or something, and attached this to Yig.
Yep.
It was really good.
Yeah, and Yig's like, what the hell? You can't do that to me. It's like, yeah, I can, brother. It's very versatile, and that's where you can see that we both gave this like a high versatility rating.
And one of the things about skill cards is that you often wonder, like, is it worth it right now? And with Always Prepared, especially, you don't need to worry about that. It's like Dream Diary, right? We love Dream Diary. It's really good. This is kind of turning the card into something like that, but potentially more icons. I mean, it's something similar, really. If you have monster and elite or something, this is getting you 5 wild icons. That's really good.
Yeah, I think this is one of those things where you basically do one of the bottom 3 and then put on 4 traits, so it's like as useful as possible, right? Like that's like a pretty fine use. And I think it's kind of strange, right? Because like it's a very different than the previous ones that we see, because like if you get Always Prepared, you probably don't want Nemesis or Mythos Hardened, and vice versa, right? Because like all of them in some way are either about removing the card or recurring the card, so they kind of like non-bow with each other. So it's kind of like
Nemesis is okay, right? Because if you defeat the enemy, it goes to your discard pile.
Yeah, 100%. But like it's one of those things where like it's a very unique customizable card. I enjoyed watching Eric like solve the puzzle and like feeling very smart as an Arkham gamer to do like the Always Prepared, and it does feel very rewarding when it triggers. It's a very like Eric was even actually just like committing it as a +1 to tests and like passing. And the thing is, you can do that because you just get the card back, right? And that's very versatile. I don't like that Alessandra can play it, but that's a different conversation for a different day.
Did I do that when we did Iron Man? I think I did. I'm so
I
sorry.
think. Oh no, it's no, it's on the designers. Like reminder text is not rules text, and they should have been consistent about that.
Yeah. And there's, I think, the question about whether or not Michael can play this if he puts firearm. I think this has been ruled on, but I just feel like that both of those questions are very silly.
Yes, and the answer to both of them should be no. Like they
No,
should
right.
be no. Yes. All right. Should we go to card number 2?
Yeah.
I'll let you read this one.
Okay.
With an 8.6, we have Friends in Low Places.
Yeah. This is our first rogue one, huh? Wonder why. Okay. This is a rogue card. It's an event. It is 0 cost, which is really nice. This one actually has 2 icons, which is probably unique among the customizables. If I'm just talking off the top of my head, just feels like it. Friends in Low Places is a favor. It is customizable. When you purchase Friends in Low Places, choose and record a trait on its upgrade sheet. Hey, it's kind of like the previous thing we talked about. Look at the top 6 cards of your deck. For each looked at card with a chosen trait or traits, you may spend 1 resource to add that card to your hand, shuffle the remaining cards into your deck. This one has flavor text too. It has a customizable big ol' underline to write your chosen trait. Helpful, 1 XP. When you play Friends in Low Places, you may choose another investigator location to resolve its effects. It's another one of these neat support cards, potentially. 2 XP for Versatile, not to be confused with the permanent card of the same name. Choose another trait. When you play Friends in Low Places, you may choose one of the looked at cards with both chosen traits to add to your hand without spending a resource. Neat. 2 XP for Bolstering. Each card added to your hand by Friends in Low Places gains a wild icon until the end of the phase. Clever. This one's also 2 XP, as is the next one after that. Instead of shuffling the remaining cards in your deck, you may place each of them on top of your deck in any order. Prompt, 2 XP, Friends in Low Places gains fast. And, quote, play during any free triggered window. Hey, they remembered to write that part here and not just gains fast. Soapbox is done now. Experience for 3 XP. Increase the number of cards looked at by 3, so you're up to 9, which is a fair level 2 backpack instead of the real one. And then Swift for 3 XP, you may play one of the cards added to your hand, paying its cost. Neat. All right. We both gave this one pretty high marks across the board. 9 for power for me, 8 for you, 10 versatility, me, 9 for you. And impact, we both went with a 7.
Strong card. It's one of the only ways, if not the only way, that you can tutor out ritual cards. So rogue mystics love, like mystic rogues love this card, right? Because they can find the card that is untutorable.
I mean, double double is a ritual, right?
Yep, being able to dig that out. Like, these are things that, like, it's like ritual is actually kind of a nerf trait, where it's like, this is the card you cannot find. And Friends in Low Places does that usual rogue thing where they say, yeah, but what if we break the rules a little bit and I kind of change how things are? And I think that's, like, to me, the real big power of Friends in Low Places. It's just a generally good tutor card. And its versatility goes with the deck that you have. The reason why I only gave it a 9 as a 10 is because, in my opinion, prompt and experienced are mandatory for the card to be kind of playable. Spending an action to look at 6, in my mind, is actually unplayable. Do not do it. An action for 9 is baseline. It's like, that's like, you're good. That's like prepared for the worst, and the extra experience is because you're finding anything that you want. But then as soon as it becomes fast, this card is very nice.
It's very good. What's interesting to me about this card, just at the baseline, is that you can draw a lot of cards. You need to pay resources, right? But it's for each card you get to draw it. So potentially this is better than Backpack, which only gets you 3, and this costs you nothing. So the density of whatever the trait is can matter too, which is part of the versatility. Like, you can play it just for the, I'm searching the top 9 for the ritual, or you could, play this in Bob and say, I would like to get all the items out of my deck, please.
That does sound very fun. That does sound very fun.
It's good.
Yeah.
Granted, there's other ways of doing that, but I like the rogue, the design here of spending a resource to draw a card and not just getting them for free. I think that's neat. So it makes you decide a little bit, and that makes the versatile ad a little more interesting, right? If you want to do item firearm, now you're not spending the resources, so you could play the card maybe better. Although Swift can do that. Also, I don't know. The whole thing is like particularly interesting. I'm
Yep.
actually I see this card rated very highly, and I've never really played the break the game version of this, where I think you
Hmm.
can just go nuts with the ability. I think just baseline. I agree that in Search Six spend some resources to draw cards isn't great, but I like that you are putting this in your deck because it's an event way of drawing cards
Yep.
versus maybe I don't want to use other things like backpack to take up that slot where sometimes it could be awkward because I already have, I don't know, bandolier or something.
I think that's a fair use point that I've never actually considered with Friends in Low Places, which is just I want to draw cards. I don't care what the cards are. I have a high chance of hitting this, right? Because like imagine this in like a Winifred deck where you just
Hmm.
put like innate and then you
Yeah.
look at 9 cards and get like 5 innate skills. Like that seems pretty good. And that
And
like that not fast is kind of nice. And then bolstering has a place there.
bolstering.
I've never
Hmm.
done that. That's I think I'm going to try that out. I think I'm going to try bringing that to a game day. I think that that could be a really fun thing to see in action and I've never done that. So that's really
That's what makes
cool.
this card interesting.
Yeah.
Now, let's talk about clever.
It's a trap. Don't get it. Don't get it. Don't
Yeah.
get trapped.
All right. Why is it a trap, Justin?
Because you're locked in. Say, for example, you do clever and you see the worst fucking thing you've ever seen. Like, let's say, for example, you're trying to do this as a combo piece to fish out. Let's go to that double example again. What happens if you have, like, it's an instead, right? So you don't, you can put them back in any order, right? And it's one of those things where like you look at that thing and you see like, oh, the combo piece that I want isn't here. How am I want to draw it, but it's not here, and I just basically spent 2 XP on nothing, right? The only
You can
way
choose to shuffle, right?
you can choose to shuffle, but then you just spent 2 XP to do nothing, right? Like,
And the problem is, like, what if you wanted a couple of those
yeah,
cards at the top, and then the rest of them are garbage,
yes.
right?
So
Then you're
what you do is you make sure your deck has a way to shuffle cards.
yeah.
Then clever is no longer a trap. I only take clever if I have another way to shuffle my deck, because then this is like some old strategy from Magic the Gathering where there's a card called Brainstorm where you like draw 3 cards, then put 2 cards from your hand on back on the top of your deck. And the thing is, just playing that card itself is just to draw one, and it's not great. But as soon as if you have a way to shuffle away cards you don't want, the card gets better, and that carries over into Friends in Low Places where you can draw those 5 cards. You put your weaknesses on the bottom and you say, okay, I drew the last card. Now I'm going to shuffle my deck. And now
right.
those cards that I don't want to see are gone. So clever in and of itself, it sounds like it's nice, but only take it if you have control over your deck, or you're going to actually lock yourself into a situation where you draw the 6 cards that you want, but now you have to get through 3 weaknesses that you know are coming. And like that can be really bad.
Or you're a mystic and you cancel them with
Yep.
foresight or something.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
there are
Have
some
a
nice
way
combo
to,
pieces there.
yeah, be clever when you play clever. Is like what it comes down to it. Like, I don't think it's like a never take option, but if you're just taking clever because you think having the deck manipulation is good, you're actually probably hurting yourself more than you're helping yourself in the long term.
I think it's a neat card. It's well designed in terms of. I don't think it's. Again, if you are trying to do the nonsense of make this fast and play it as much as you can because you've run out the deck, sure, like that's just card draw and not taking mental trauma every time you reshuffle your deck, problems in the game already. But I think otherwise, this is a neat card.
Yep, yep. All right, there's one card left, and it's been here the whole time.
It has.
Number 1 on our list with a 9.8 out of 10 is I did not change the numbers on the side. These are not the side ratings for this. do not pay attention to those numbers. Those numbers are wrong. I will
math
get
doesn't
those.
quite-
No, they don't add up. But I will get them in a second. Let me just make sure I have I
I'll
closed
read
the
this card
spreadsheet.
then.
Yeah, you read that. I'll look for this.
Okay, 4 cost, Runic Axe. It is unique, unlike the other stuff we saw. Maybe summon servitor is unique. I don't know. Anyway, item, weapon, melee. This is a guardian card, which we haven't seen yet on the list either. What are the other ones? Custom ammunition and
Hunter's armor.
hunter's armor. Yeah. Okay. Um, right. This one has 4 charges on it, which makes it a little unique among guardian cards too. Replenish one of those charges at the start of each round. As an activate action fight, you get +1 fist for this attack. Before this attack, you may spend any number of charges to imbue the axe with that many different inscriptions. And you start with accuracy and power. Accuracy is you get an additional +2 for the attack. Power, this attack deals +1 damage. Kind of important to have that right there at the beginning. But even so, that's a really nice weapon at level 0.
Yep.
It only gets better. Heirloom, 1 XP. This asset gets -1 cost and gains the relic trait. Pretty important for certain other interactions and enemies. Inscription of Glory. So a bunch of these are 1 XP inscriptions. Actually, I guess they all are. Add this inscription. Glory. Again, not to be confused, both a different guardian card of that name. If this attack defeats an enemy, choose 1, draw 1 card, heal 1 damage, or heal 1 horror. Inscription of the Elders. Add this inscription. Elders. If this attack succeeds by an amount equal to or greater than your location's shroud, discover a clue at your location. Inscription of the Hunt. Add this inscription. And I think this one's been tabooed to, what, another checkbox?
Yeah, I think it's 2, and that's what the chained is on this one, but I don't have a copy of that.
That's all right. Hunt is immediately move to a connecting location or engage an enemy at your location. Inscription of Fury. Add this inscription. If this attack is successful, in addition to its standard damage, deal 1 damage to each other enemy engaged with you. And then we've got the 3 big boys. Ancient Power. You may imbue the same inscription up to 3 times, because before you could only have that many different inscriptions. That is Ancient Power. Saga. Replenish 2 of Runic Axe's charges at the start of each round instead of only 1. And then 4 more XP into Script Weaver. For every charge spent, you may imbue the axe with up to 2 different inscriptions. So you spend 1 charge and you get to choose 2 things. That's a lot.
So for the ratings, I gave it all 10s for power, versatility, and impact. And you gave it a 10 in power, a 9 in versatility, and a 10 in impact. That's how it got a 9.8. We think this card is very powerful, if you haven't figured that out yet. This card was so close to being like the perfect melee weapon, mixed with like the uses of ammo, and then there was a whole other card to go with it. Like if you just look at the level 0 version, this is like a pretty all right like axe, right? Like this is a pretty okay like weapon to fight with. It kind of goes down in player and 4 players, but like in 2 players, this is not a bad option to fight with in scenario 1, especially if it's like supplemented with cards around it. If they just made like an XP version that was like either had like 8 charges or just 4 charges but replenished 2, that's a weapon. That's a card that would have impacted the card in a way, in the pool, that a way was like fair and reasonable. But they gave this card legitimately everything. Like it has everything that you can do except for resources on this card. And that's kind of, I mean, it kind of does have resources because it gives you the -1 cost, right? Like there is like a use case for anything that you want in Arkham is on this card. It gets clues, it draws cards, it heals, it moves, it deals damage to multiple enemies. It does all of those things, and that's just looking at the first, 5 boxes? Like we haven't even got to like the real juice on this card, which is the 3 big boys at the bottom as you describe them. Ancient Power, Saga, and Script Weaver. For a long time, I believe that you kind of needed to get Saga and or Script Weaver, but I think like now it's one of those things where you kind of like have to, you can build it however you want, which is what pushed it for me to the versatility to a 10. I have built so many different builds with Runic Axe, with different investigators, and they're always powerful. Like, I know we like to meme in the community that Cyclopean Hammer is the strongest weapon in the game, But I do think that Runic Axe legitimately outscales it if you are like Cyclopean Hammer is like the easy thing to do. You swing the hammer. But like there was a run where Bryn was playing a Carson and he gave me through teamwork a fully kitted out Runic Axe to Daniela Reyes.
Yeah.
And what I was able to do with that card was disgusting. Like this card is just it's so powerful. It's like insane. Like Hunt, the reaction you had when you were reading it. That should not have been on this card. Like that is just like to move like with an enemy. Like you can like be fighting an enemy at your location and you could just use Inscription of the Hunt to move to a location while you're fighting that enemy. You're just like, I'm going to just take a Pathfinder out of this. Like, that is insane.
Here's the reason why that's also just absurd for this card. If you look at Glory and Elders, and even Fury to some extent, right? Those require you to jump through an extra hoop, right? You have to actually defeat the enemy, and you might not. You might fail a test. Probably not, but then you wasted your inscription. Same thing with Elders. If you didn't succeed by the right amount, then you kind of wasted that charge. Fury, there has to be other enemies there for it to make sense, but that one's like pretty good too. But Hunt is just you get an action.
Yeah,
literally.
You just get an action. Yeah.
Very, very strong card. I have found that it's fun to play because you're thinking about all these things.
Yes.
But then later you look back and say, wow, remember when you played Zoe in our Iron Man of Carcosa and got like, that was Ancient Power with the Elders and you got like 3 clues off some location? I'm just like, all right, you can go handle that side of the map in, that was the Asylum, right?
Yep. Yeah, it's just like the ancient, like Ancient Power to me was like when I realized that that's actually like the good one of all these is kind of like fuck, like that's kind of nuts. Like so, for example, like I like to do Ancient Power and like Script Weaver, right? Or Ancient Power and Saga. Like I like to always do like Ancient. I think like Saga Script Weaver is still really good as well to just like handle at higher player counts. But you're generally taking like 2 of the bottom ones and then like whatever inscriptions you want. Usually Hunt, less so now that like it's tabooed. I think it is kind of a bit more balanced at 2 XP. But even then, you really only need like Hunt and Glory for this card to like be legitimately like kind of unfair for the game.
The first time I saw Roland Banks with this and Heal the Horror was just like, that's what you did. Was incredible because now you get a clue with your own ability, so you're supplementing, right, like what your strengths and weaknesses are as an investigator. And I was like, wow, Roland never needs to worry about horror again, and that was just not a thing that was in the game before. Like, you could kill horror, but it cost you actions,
Yeah, that should not be something that you can just like do while also killing enemies. Like there was like times in that same Zoe deck where I would Ancient Power and like draw a card, heal a damage, and heal a horror for killing a rat, right? And like that's like, wow, that can just happen. Yeah, I'm attacking a rat 5-1, and I'm getting so much value. Like even just like healing 3 horror off like 1 attack is crazy. And even if you take out Ancient Power, just healing 1 horror off an attack is crazy. Yeah.
But then you can do that again in like the next round or 2, and that's where it's a problem, because usually you say, well, I have this event card that helps me heal or get a clue or something after I defeat an enemy. No, this is on an asset. You're using this 3-4 times a scenario.
It's your game plan. Like this is what you're doing. This is what you brought your deck to do. Like if you're playing Runic Axe, your goal is find Runic Axe, play Runic Axe, swing Runic Axe. So it's like it's not something you need to like work towards. It's kind of like how we talk about how like clue getting is good because it wins the game, and like you need to fight clues, you need to find enemies. So if your stuff is tied to the thing you need to do to win the game, that's really good. Like if you don't have to go to your way to get your healing, if your healing just happens because you're accomplishing your deck's goal, that's really good.
And then the 4 cost like starts to not look as bad, or even 3 with Heirloom, because the rest of your deck is just supplementing how do I play Runic Axe. And yeah. I do remember when we played Carcosa, it was like a legitimate thing you had to think about for the straitjacket, right?
Yep.
And there are some scenarios where, yeah, you play TFA and you're building around Runic X. You better have a different solution for that one scenario in an alien body. So yeah, it doesn't work everywhere, but there's some kind of fragility to this card. But I bet you can figure out a way to
Yeah.
not have that be an issue.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, and it's like one of those things where even in those situations, that's less about like the card's fault and more like the scenario is working against all weapons like that. I mean, less so
Hmm.
for the alien, the when it's taken away from you because the Ithians are like, oh, this thing's fucking sick, right? But um, it's like it's one of those things where it's just a very, very, very crazy card. Probably should not have been printed in its current version. Like
Nope.
it's like one of those things where it's one of the reasons why Scarlet Keys is a very powerful set. I think as a whole, the top end for the customizable cards are very, very powerful.
And let's just talk about that for a quick second, though, since we're at the end. I do think that shoving 10 XP into two cards in your deck, for a lot of people, maybe feels like, is that worth it, right? Am I putting a lot into just a couple cards? Like that should be deck warping, right? It should be something that is really good for that price. But I really like it, especially with the full card pool. Like you usually find these and get a lot out of them. Most of them are assets, not all of them, but most of them have more than just one use, which makes them good candidates for a lot of XP.
Yep.
But yeah, if you're not the kind of player that likes that, like you want to have the full deck be more balanced in terms of what you're spending your XP on, you might not look at these as good value, but that's not the way I look at it. I feel like the deck slot is so competitive in Arkham that if I can dump 10 XP into these cards, I'm going to do it.
And then also this note, if you do like having lots of XP cards in your deck, customizable cards, there's a lot that are still good at like 4 to 6 XP, right? You don't need to put all 10 in, right? Like it's one of those things where maybe you put the 10 in when you're looking at buying Observed, which is usually the time when
Right.
your deck is done, right? That like
Have
you
you
can
played?
customize them to your deck and your play style.
So about this card, have you played it with someone who can't take 0 to 5 Guardian?
I think I've done it once. And I think I took like Saga and then one of the other ones.
That should be good, I think. I
Yeah.
haven't tried it in like a Skids or I don't know, York or something. They have other options, like you don't need to do this, and it maybe feels a bit pricey. But I'm kind of curious if anyone has done that to be like, hey, this is just a 4 XP feels dirt cheap, honestly, for two cards. Um, but I have played it in Akachi, who can take it to 8 XP, and that was
Yeah.
felt very similar
Yeah, yeah. Yeah,
to
no, I
10.
think like the power of Runic Axe is I think it's like at that point for the less it's Saga. So then you get like a refillable like because as I was talking about I do legitimately believe like us like Runic Axe with Saga would have been a fine upgrade to this card without anything else, right? So I think that yeah, for 4 XP then you also get like Glory. Like that's
Glory,
a pretty
yeah.
good like a pretty good thing, right?
Hmm.
All right. Well, if you want to see us do the bottom cards on this list, let us know down in the comments because there are some good customizable cards, some very good customizable cards, but I think there are also some that are a little bit stinky. So if you want to see us talk about those in the future, definitely let us know in the video description. Otherwise, sorry, not in the video description, in the comments. You can't post in my video description. That would be fucking crazy. Otherwise, go check out Daniel's channel in the video description. And also, thanks for watching, everybody. I hope you guys enjoyed this. If you want to support the channel, like, comment, subscribe, join the Patreon if you feel so inclined. Otherwise, we will see you all again on this channel very soon for another video. In the meantime, thanks for watching. Have a good one. And as always, GG's.